Good evening. I'm Mary Kelly, a member of the Dubuque League of Women Voters, and on behalf of the Dubuque League, I'd like to welcome the audience present and the television viewing audience to the Dubuque City Council Candidate Forum. The League of Women Voters is a 100-year-old, nonpartisan, grassroots civic organization that encourages informed and active participation in government. We work to increase understanding of major public policy issues and influence public policy through education and advocacy. Membership in the League is open to anyone 16 years and older. We would like to thank the candidates for their participation this evening and for their invaluable gift to the community by being candidates for public office. There is only one contested seat on the City Council, the at-large position. Mr. David Resnick is the incumbent at-large council member, and his opponent, Kelly Lucas, is not here this evening. Ward 2 candidate for a 4-year term is Laura Roussel. Ward 4 candidate for a 4-year term is Katie Wethel. Each candidate can have 1.5 minutes to answer each question and will be reminded of the time remaining with warning cards and finally by the bell. Candidates will have 2 minutes for closing statements at the end of the forum. And now, Mr. Resnick, we will begin with you. Why are you a candidate for City Council?
Well, thank you very much. And first, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this important event tonight. So why am I a candidate? I am a candidate because I'm excited about Dubuque's future, and I am convinced that I can make a positive difference. I do have experience on the council. I still have a great deal of enthusiasm and commitment needed to build on our success. I do have a proven track record of fiscal responsibility and independent thinking. I've been a voice for the people of Dubuque, and together we've gotten things done, big things, like the B Branch Waterway, the Millwork District, and the Southwest Arterial, and so much more. When you drive through Dubuque, you could see the changes. And thank you very much for your support with those. We need your citizen support. So I'm ready to help this wonderful community of ours to move forward. Thank you.
Ms. Roussel?
Thank you. And I would also like to thank the League of Women Voters for this great opportunity. It has been my privilege to serve as the Ward 2 representative on the Dubuque City Council for the past 4 years. There are so many exciting things in motion and on the horizon and challenges still ahead, and I want to be here to continue that work. Dubuque is my home. I have family and friends here, and I care about the people and the businesses in our community. I want Dubuque to be the best it can be, growing with a thriving economy. And if you live here, whether you were born here or you just got here, I want Dubuque to be a place that you are proud to call home. I have been an active servant leader in our community since my early years. I feel it is my obligation to give back to the community that has given me so much. I have been in customer service my entire career, and I feel that elected office is the highest level of customer service. I want to continue using my skills and my experience to serve you on our City Council. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethel?
I also want to, of course, thank the League of Women Voters and all of those who are joining us tonight here and at home. My name is Katie Wethel, and for the last 18 months, I have had the privilege to serve as your Ward 4 councilwoman. Prior to that time, my identity related to my role as wife, mother, and caregiver in our community was more of what I knew. I've worked as a nurse practitioner for over 20 years, and I'm currently a full-time NP at Medical Associates in the Internal Medicine Department. As a working mother of 3, I feel that my stage in life and my professional experience offer a different view on decisions brought before council. In my last election, my name was on a ballot with 6 others to fill the partial term in Ward 4 vacated when Mayor Kavanaugh was elected. During that election and now running unopposed, it is my belief that I would not run against anyone, rather for Dubuque and her people. During these months, I have learned how incredibly fulfilling it is to work in the service of others as your councilwoman. Big decisions that might appear in the paper are challenging, but I will share with you some of those most gratifying to me are when I hear from an individual citizen who needs your help. I've worked to do my part and lead with listening, and it is a privilege to be on the ballot November 7th. I'd be so grateful for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now we'll get to the questions from the audience. And we'll direct the first one to you, Mr. Resnick. It's about the budget. How should the city find funds to replace those cut by the state?
Well, thank you very much for that question. That is a conundrum. I mean, we've been planning budgets. Budgets are thought about all year. And then when changes happen at the state, they do have a great effect on us. And so immediately our city staff goes into in the super thinking mode, hyper thinking, and tries to find out, first of all, where could we possibly get grants? How could we use our public-private partnerships in the area to give us some information or to help us along? So we basically do an all points bulletin for those who can help us. We talk to our federal partners, and they've been very helpful, and we've been working with them on many different projects. So we have a lot of resources here as far as people connections. We've got the Greater Dubuque Development Corporation and the Chamber of Commerce who can help us in many different things with our federal partners and what's going on here in Dubuque. So it's a nonstop, how can we help save the services that our Dubuque citizens need?
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Thank you. The budget is definitely one of the biggest challenges that we have. It's so important for us to balance the needs of our citizens against the budget impacts that are related to that. And we have a really great budget process that looks at every single department, and every single department head comes to us with their most crucial needs, and we have to scrutinize what would be the impact if we can't fund a particular project or put it off for a couple of years. What would be the impact to our residents when that happens? We take a careful review of each department. We really appreciate the fact that each leader has carefully scrutinized their own department. Those are our leaders in those areas of expertise, and we really respect the knowledge and experience that they bring to our table that helps us make the best possible decisions. And of course, we will look to any grants that might be available, or reaching out to our state and federal partners. It is very much a partnership and a process that will involve not only those of us here at the table, but all departments, our residents. We will be looking for input from our residents as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Withell.
Budget season, to me, is one of the most exciting pieces of being able to serve as a councilwoman, because you really get to take all of the information you've heard from your constituents all year long and put it into action. And it doesn't mean that all the folks who right before budget contact me about concerns, or the same thing with goal planning, that doesn't matter. But really it's about thinking, what have citizens told me throughout the year they need, and how can I act on that by strategizing where in the budget I want to make sure I ask the right questions. And even as we look forward into the following year, or during goal setting, we said, What is your 5-year goal? I think those conversations are really important to have as a community and as a council. And I think that we've had great leadership to guide us in those directions during goal setting. But then again, as Councilwoman Roussel had mentioned, the absolute quality and caliber of our city staff is impeccable. And I hope our citizens know that. We very much prioritize bringing onto the team people that know the right information to get the job done, and then they guide us through that budgeting process. I'll echo also the importance of collaboration with our federal partners and our state partners, and really building those relationships is incredibly important. So I appreciate that our city
you, Ms.
staff is a big
Wethel.
part of it. Thank you.
And since we only have 3 participants tonight, we're going to ask if anyone has another comment to make or a question to ask of each other. Please feel free. If not, we'll go on. All right. The next question deals with the issue of homelessness, and we'll start with Ms. Roussel. Does Dubuque have enough opportunities or resources to care for homeless people in our community?
Of course, we never have enough resources to address a situation that is so broad, but we have made great efforts toward serving those people who are unhoused. We have developed a great team of people that not only the police, who may be the first responder, but also social services, so that when we find a person in a situation, we know what's available for them. We can connect them with housing or other services that they might need so that they can find a safe place to call home. There are so many reasons for homelessness and challenges. Some folks like, or I should say, don't want to be helped. But we want to make sure that we are out there and asking the questions in a kind and compassionate way, and making sure that the services that we have available in our community are brought directly to those individuals. They might not know that there may be services like HACAP or Opening Doors or the Mission, so that we can get them directly to a place of safety so that they can improve their quality of life. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethel.
In the last year, our council has looked into ordinances as it relates to homelessness, and in concern and care for the unhoused, we've taken this incredibly seriously, and I am very proud of our city staff for the movement they have made and the work they have done. A secondary responder model is our goal, and what that goal means is that when we have police arrive to an incident, specifically if it's a brain health concern, we have staff there that knows the resources in our community that can be offered to individuals, a staff member with police so that police can be there to keep the situation safe. And then the secondary responder model is to have that individual move forward with creating solutions for that individual if they are receptive and open. The idea of having a person in our community that connects with these individuals and builds trust with them is an important piece of it. And our police department does an incredible job of that. They're very well trained. A goal that we have is, of course, full staffing of our police department, and that will play a role in the future of how we're able to accommodate and work forward with these individuals to keep them safe and to keep our community safe as well.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick.
Yes, thank you very much. So it's a team effort to work with our unhoused population. And it's been mentioned and talked about by my colleagues on the council. Brain health is so important, and that we have a brain health expert who accompanies our police teams if there's some issues. So, I mean, I think that's great. The other thing that we're really concentrating on is the problem of affordable housing. And that leads to more, if you don't have affordable housing, you're going to have more unhoused. So we're taking many steps to improve that situation. And so a couple of those things are, we have a $10,000 per unit incentive for those who are trying to make affordable housing units for our citizens. We have housing choice voucher experts who know how to help people get connected in the community. And they've also mentioned our partners in emergency services who really have the best interests in mind for those citizens who really need help.
Thank you. Does anyone else have anything to add? All right. Now we'll start with Ms. Wethall on this question about rental and trailer parks. How can the city help residents in trailer parks from being victimized, by new trailer park owners? Ms. Wethall.
Thank you. It's a very troubling question, and it's a question that is affecting not only our own residents, but residents across this country. Large corporations are purchasing property that then individuals who maybe own their own mobile home need to pay rent. The problem is, if you have someone who's a corporation come in and raise rent on an individual, they would have to move their home to say no to that rent. And that's impossible for a lot of our citizens who live paycheck to paycheck, who work to afford their medicines or afford their rent. I wish that I could tell you I had a spectacular answer in how we as a city can take care of that problem, but I will tell you, we've been working with our state partners. We've created, I hope, good conversation and open discussion about what can be done, not just only at state level, but our federal level. There are no quick answers, and we have had so many individuals advocate so strongly, and I was proud to be part of a recent housing forum where we really just sat and listened and had conversation about how we can work together, whether it's petitioning at the state or federal level, to try and learn more about what we could do to fix this issue long term.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Resnick?
Yes, thank you. I've been to several meetings with residents of the trailer parks and listened to their stories. And we have been, again, considering many things. What we do is talk to the state, to see state representatives, to see if they can strengthen the laws that protect individuals who live in the trailers. And the thing is, let me go back to what I said about affordable housing. I think the people who live in trailers don't live there because they love it. It's because it's affordable. And so if we have more choices for affordable housing, that's what we can do directly to help this problem along. Because, as Ms. Wethel said, there are so many roadblocks and to actually helping citizens have more direction in their own life and be able to continue living with their neighbors without exorbitant costs. So those with less resources have less choices in this world, and some people take advantage of that, unfortunately. So what we can do especially is concentrate working for affordable housing.
Thank you. Ms. Rossell?
Thank you. I agree with my colleagues that affordable housing is the most basic need for any resident. If you don't have a safe and affordable place to live, nothing else is going to matter. Your children are going to be, they're worried when they know that mom and dad are struggling. And I think it's important for our residents in our mobile home parks to know that we care, even though some of the regulation may be out of our hands at the city level. I think it's important for us to stand by them and help them advocate, although they have been doing an excellent job on behalf of their own group, but standing by them and working with our state legislature to make sure that we can get some type of guidance or some type of restriction on how much the rent can be improved, because these are homes that people love. When I was out talking with some of these residents, you know, they raise their children there. They know their neighbors. It's a neighborhood where they want to be, and so we need to advocate with them to help these mobile homes be an affordable place that they can live. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, Ms. Wethall.
As Councilmember Resnick had mentioned, I think just maybe emphasizing a little bit more on I believe, successes we have had and housing are one of the great prides I've had in the last 18 months and the progress that we have made. We work with a partner called Greater Dubuque Development Corporation, who goes out into the community with our business partners and says, what is it as an existing business that you need, or what are your employees telling you that they need to have a life that is full of joy in our community? And not only have I heard from employers that we need more housing because people are refusing to move to Dubuque because they can't find a place to live, but in addition, that's what employers are telling GDDC in their info action interviews, in which individuals get to sit one-on-one with staff, and then they bring that information back to us. It was estimated that we need 1,100 housing units in our city in the next 5 years. And I'm proud to say that in some form or process right now, our city has within the last year secured at least 2,000 units plus that we hope will continue to thrive and become units that are up and moving in all income streams and across our entire city. And so I think I want to double back on the housing and the importance of affordable housing for all of our individuals in the city. And I think the efforts we're making, I hope will in some way make a difference for these individuals.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right. The next question deals with the Dream Center, and we'll start with Mr. Resnick. In addition to the Multicultural Family Center, should the city continue to support the Dream Center and Fountain of Youth?
Well, thank you for that easy question, because the answer is absolutely yes. Now, how can we best support them? And so recently, when the council discussed this at length during goals and priorities, we all support these wonderful nonprofits who have a tremendous mission, and they are doing the absolute best they can. Now, I advocated for, and many of the council members would like us to try to get a new financial paradigm so that they could do this great work without this overarching burden about just paying the bills. So right now, the council has helped them to secure the school that was no longer used. So we secure that facility, expand that facility. I know that we've been a good partner in many aspects, including helping them to create a plan for the future. And I hope that along with the Multicultural Family Center, we could find a way to make this the Dream Center dream of creating such a great opportunity for the youth of our community, and in a financially possible way, make it more possible.
Thank you. Ms. Roussel.
Thank you. Should we support the Dream Center and the Fountain of Youth? Absolutely. These are organizations that help individuals and families thrive. People who may have felt like giving up or realizing or thinking they had no options when, for example, someone goes through the Fountain of Youth program, their life is changed. They find new options, they find jobs, they find friends, they make a connection. The Dream Center, it changes individuals, it changes those children. It helps them to be self-sufficient, to realize their potential. It helps their entire family thrive. It provides meals for them. It provides parenting guidance. They provide services that are just not available anywhere else. What can we do? We can help with financial support, but we can also help them to be self-sufficient. And hopefully, by showing our support, we will encourage others to support them as well, especially the child care portion of the Dream Center. It is absolutely essential. I wish them both great success. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethall.
It's very timely. I was walking out of a meeting at the downtown NICC building the other night, and I ran into a graduate from the Fountain of Youth. And she was taking classes. And this is a woman who I've known over time to double down on all of the efforts and opportunities that the Fountain of Youth has offered her. Individual stories from individuals that go through the Fountain of Youth program. It's amazing. Under the direction of Caprice Jones, they have helped people simply improve their lives by working hard and given the opportunity to do so. The Dream Center. When we talk about workforce and we talk about what keeps people in the workforce, it is daycare. Childcare, after-school programs offered by the Dream Center have kept a very important part of our city, specifically Ward 4, in the workforce. I would challenge anyone listening tonight, if you have time, volunteer at the Dream Center. They need you. They need people who care to show up, to mentor. After-school programs are so important, and the energy that you feel when you walk in that door is amazing. And so I also support funding for those organizations. I think there are collaborative ways that we need to look at how we can make a difference.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. The next question deals with bike paths. And Ms. Rousseau, we'll start with you. Separate bicycle paths would be useful so they can be used for transportation besides recreation. Could a path follow Catfish Creek from the west end?
Well, I know that a lot of citizens are interested in the bike paths. As I was going out door to door, a lot of people said that they want to be able to take their bike from their home to wherever they might be going. And so regardless of the destination that you've mentioned there, I know that we have a master plan for biking and for trails. And I think it's important for us to consider that for many reasons. Number one, our citizens have asked us for that type of amenity. They want to be able to exercise. They want to be able to take their bike to work and feel safe in the street. So adding a component of healthy citizens is really important. And if you think about climate action, and if we have more people who are able to take their bike to work and not drive their car, we are reducing our greenhouse gas emissions. So there are many benefits of a bike path, and I would encourage, I would love to see additional bike paths throughout the community, and I know that people will take advantage of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethall.
As a community and in collaboration with many, we have looked at creating a bike lane and utilizing a kind of test model, if you will. And I'm excited about what that future is going to bring. I will tell you, in addition to what Councilmember Roussel had mentioned, I'm a healthcare provider, and so making outdoor activities accessible to families for the health of our future generations is what will set Dubuque apart as an employer, a place to live, work, and play. And so creating family-friendly community access to the outdoors, our greatest treasure, the river. I have to say there's so many communities that envy what we have for outdoor recreation. Extending paths where we can, where it makes sense. I will tell you, I'm not certain if that's in the works in that specific area, but I think this council has overwhelmingly supported those quality of life measures, place-making measures, where we can show people our greatest assets of our outdoors and bring them in to be part of our community.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Resnick?
Thank you. And so, bikes have always been important to me and my family. Of course, as a paper boy, you got to have a bike. And then my family, my brothers and my dad, we took a trip from Davenport to Chicago on our bikes. It took us 3 days. And we all had single-speed bikes back in the day, except for my dad, who had a really cool 3-speed. But, I think it's very important to have bikes here in our community, especially for safety reasons. Whenever I see a story about a biker, a bicyclist in the paper, it's almost always about someone who got hurt. So we need to protect our cyclists. They need a place to ride, and frankly, our cyclists, many of them need some training. The drivers of cars are often surprised by some erratic driving, and they're not always sure about whether or not they can drive on the sidewalk or on the road. I've got 30 seconds, so I'm going to hurry. So for recreation, for exercise, it's a wonderful amenity. There's some sustainability benefits because of fewer cars. And so I do think that we need to provide single-use bike paths and incent perhaps some e-bikes, get people out here. I know there's a lot of hills in Dubuque, and at the bottom, there it is.
Thank you. Well, we have a little bit more time. Do you want to finish your thought?
Well, a little bit more time. Well, I remember driving through Dubuque, riding my bike through Dubuque, and it just seemed like at the bottom of every hill is a stop sign. You can't even ride up. So you stop at the bottom, and then here we go. So I have been riding an e-bike, and my wife have a tandem that we have made into an e-bike. We're out in the park, Eagle Point Park. We get along the river. There's just so many great places to ride once you can do so safely and comfortably.
Thank you. All right, the next question, and we'll start with you, Ms. Wethall, concerns the ice arena. The city has already spent money at the arena. Now they're talking about making it an all-purpose arena. What are your opinions on that?
I think Schmid Island is a game changer for our community. The possibilities that we have in that area to bring people to be with our river, to have families be able to have their kids stay locally to participate in activities, certainly like hockey. These things aren't meant always to make money. They're meant to provide a quality of life for our citizens, and we have to balance that. We always need to consider the cost of what that will be for the taxpayer. But I will tell you, we have to make sure there are taxpayers in our city. We have to bring families here and keep them here. And things like those recreation opportunities in places like Schmid Island are going to change the vision of Dubuque and in our city, I think, in the next 5 to 10 years.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick?
So Chaplain Schmid Island used to be the dump. Right? And what a great improvement that the past councils have done to move that to a right place and make this wonderful location on the Mississippi River into a place where families want to go. And that's what we want to do and have a lot of activities on Schmid Island, including the ice arena. Now, we have definitely shaped up that place, and the citizens of Dubuque have contributed with their tax money, so thank you very much. It's very important to many, many people, a select group of skaters, yes, but you might have read recently that they're putting some more facilities in that area, so that we can use this for many different occasions. So they're very happy that the DRA is one of our partners. We support what they do. They definitely support what we're doing here in the city. And they appreciate that we have a quality ice arena that can now be used for many, many activities, including concerts and other community gatherings. So I think the ice arena, it was a lot to chew on as far as the money is concerned, but it's going to be an investment, and that Schmidt Island, the Chaplain Schmidt Island, is just going to bloom.
Thanks. Ms. Roussel?
Well, thank you. When you said the ice arena, it made me think of a time when the ice arena was on the agenda recently, and I could not believe the emails that I got from residents that said, please, please support the ice arena. My family loves to play hockey there. Our family is always down there. And so when you have a facility that so many residents enjoy, it's a gem. And when we have amenities that are family friendly, it helps us attract those young families that want to come and live in our community, because they know there are things that their children can do, there are things that they can do as a family. And if we expand the uses of those facilities, it's certainly a benefit to all of our citizens. So maybe you don't play hockey, but you might want to, maybe you just go down there for a walk when it's cold outside. So I think it's really important to maximize the use of all of our city facilities. And certainly, as my colleagues have said, Chaplain Schmidt Island is just, well, it's a gem. When you come across the bridge and you're greeted by Dubuque and you see Chaplain Schmidt Island, you're wowed. And so these are the kind of amenities that makes Dubuque a special place. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question deals with childcare. We've talked a little bit about that, but can the city be doing more to increase access to childcare facilities for all income groups? And Mr. Resnick, we'll start with you.
Childcare is so important, of course. Children are the most beloved things, if I could say, in people's lives. They care more about their kids than anything. And we need to have a good childcare system for those who would like to take part in that. And also, it's so important for our workforce. Well, am I able to go out and support our family financially and not worry about that I'm not getting high quality childcare? Now, my wife and I were able to say, well, we're going to have a stay-at-home parent for our kids. And many people have that choice, but some people don't. And it's really important for our workforce and just for the parents in our community to have child care that is quality. I'm on the Dubuque Initiative board, and they are partners with Dubuque. And we just opened a big facility out where it used to have the medical facility out at the park. Industrial park. And now that, because we have that partnership, we have so many opportunities for the Y personnel to run a city Dubuque Initiatives facility. That kind of partnership is what it takes.
Thank you. Ms. Roussel.
Thank you. Any parent who has tried to find childcare for their son or daughter knows the difficulty involved. Not only does it have to be safe, it has to be affordable, and you have to be able to get there. So there's also a transportation component. If mom or dad has a job over here and the child's daycare is over there and your car isn't very reliable, transportation is going to be a challenge for you as well. But I think as far as the city is concerned, it's all about partnerships. And so we can't provide childcare, but we can certainly be a partner to help facilitate childcare. And certainly the new daycare center on Chavanel Road is a key example of that kind of partnership. And that is going to be so helpful for parents. If you work out there and you can just drop off your child and then head to work, that'll be so convenient. And I just know that moms and dads cannot enter the workforce if they don't feel their child is safely cared for during the day. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethall.
After the pandemic, I think there were a lot of changes not only in our workforce, but in our childcare system. Those who have the most at risk from not being able to return to work are the ones that probably had the hardest time securing childcare. Creating supportive networks is something that, as Councilmember Roussel said, we have a responsibility to do as council members in our community. Those collaborations that I have been very happy to support and am proud of supporting in the last year include the goal of expanding and, of course, supporting the Dubuque Dream Center, encouraging the continued work of St. Mark's Youth Enrichment, the Y, the Boys and Girls Club. These organizations help some of our children who otherwise would go home to an empty home. They help to feed them dinner. So I have to say, those organizations support a very vulnerable group of our community. In addition, we have had an employer, Cottingham and Butler, step up in the last year to create their own daycare. And I was thrilled to support their efforts in whatever ways I could on council. I will say, encouraging other employers to follow suit in the Dubuque Initiative's work of those collaborations with employers, I think will be the future of daycare for our community.
Thank you. The next question deals with the challenges of climate change. Besides working towards having city buses run by electricity, what else can the city do to accelerate efforts to alleviate the climate crisis? And Ms. Roussel, we will start with you.
Great. I love this topic. The city has an excellent climate action plan with a wide variety of areas that are identified where we can make a difference. One of them, of course, is planting trees, green infrastructure, but helping us all reduce our greenhouse gas emissions, like finding alternative transportation, biking, using the city transportation. We have a climate a director of sustainability who helps us to implement this plan. And within this plan are action steps that businesses can take, that individuals can take to collectively make a difference on making a change in climate action. So I think it will take all of us working together on transportation, on reducing our greenhouse gas emissions, with planting trees, with just thinking about your everyday life and actions. So I would encourage you to check out our city climate action plan and see how you can make a difference. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethall.
There are so many ways that as individuals, all of us listening in here tonight can take action, and that is your own household. If you have children in your home or in your community, how do you demonstrate to them the importance of climate action? In the city of Dubuque, I was so excited when I learned this. We were the first in the state to have an Office of Sustainability. We have been committed to sustainability as a city, but that just doesn't happen by happenstance. That happens because you have leaders and staff in our city that are passionate about those efforts. Composting, looking at our waste management system, looking at trees. Climate action isn't about one piece. It's not about one thing or one person. It's about all of us. And yes, we can look forward to electrifying our fleets in the future. I will tell you, many things about our city are behind on this measure. We need to be aggressive. We need to look to the future. And I think our city staff is doing a tremendous job of challenging us to do that.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick?
Yes, thank you. And again, our climate action plan is important to us. And we have a commitment to reduce our greenhouse gas 50% by 2030. And we are doing very well with it so far, but there are steps that we still need to take. We also have our actions judged by objective standards, and people from outside come in and say, you're doing well here, you could do more here. It's nice to have that third-party viewpoint. I'm on the landfill board, and we have started a methane capture program where we've taken methane that just went into the air. It's a powerful greenhouse gas, and we've captured it and turned it into usable energy. So that, I think that was very important as well. So that way, and as my colleagues mentioned, many other ways, including riding bikes and planting trees. Just common sense ways to say, do we really need to take that trip in this way right now? And maybe we could save a little energy and get some exercise by getting out there and walking over to our neighbors or biking over. So again, I hope that community members feel invited to join us on this. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question deals with housing, which we have touched on a little bit, but the questioner wants to know, how can the city encourage more affordable housing, short and long term? And we'll start with you, Ms. Wethall.
When I first ran for council, my hope was that we could expand housing across all of our city for all income streams. And as I spoke earlier, we have collaborations with organizations like the Greater Dubuque Development Corporation that they go out and they say, these are what employers and employees are telling us that you need to do, and you need to take the action. And we have. Through change of housing incentive programs, which are many, and we have that literature, if anyone would like to review it, directly on a link at our website, in which developers or individuals purchasing properties can now go and see a list of different incentives that the city offers to help them expand our housing stock. I had mentioned earlier that during goal setting, we say, okay, what do we want this year? But what do you as an individual want 5 years from now? My goal is to have all of the promised and secured housing that we have talked about and moved forward with as a council in the last 6 to 8 months actually built. That's success, but it's not going to happen overnight. I will say our council has moved aggressively at these incentives under the guidance of city staff recommendations and looking across the region at what other cities are doing that's creative, and we've made change.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick?
Yes, thank you. So Dubuque, wonderful old city. It does have the oldest housing stock in Iowa. Now, there's some wonderful things about that. It looks great, and it reminds us of our beginning times. But it does take more invested to improve the older homes than it does if you were just going to build new. So I think we need to continue to look for opportunities. We take every opportunity to see if we can get grants, such as the historic tax credits, to build homes and to redo historic housing as well as some of our commercial building. And we recently have started our Developers Roundtable collaboration again. And so there have been good talks about how we can help each other to build housing in a win-win situation for both of us. And that'll be a third win when our citizens have that available to them. We'll get those developers moving on that when they know that it's a good investment for them, and then we'll get that housing built, and then our citizens will have some good choices on how to, where they want to live and how they want to live.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Thank you. As Councilmember Wethel said, when the City Council set housing as a goal, I was so impressed that staff quickly brought us a list of these incentives that we could then offer to developers. And as quickly as they came to us, developers were coming to us to build the housing that we need. And as Ms. Wethel said, it's on all levels. And what that means is if an older retired couple is now able to downsize into a smaller home, then that opens up for another couple who might need a bigger place. Or perhaps someone's living in a less than desirable kind of an apartment. If we have more choice, then those kinds of apartments will have less residents in them, or there'll be more incentive for them to be addressed. Because of our efforts, Dubuque was awarded the Thriving Communities Award. We should be really proud of that. Many communities are struggling, and because of the efforts that we are taking to build and create more housing in our community, I think that is going to help us attract residents and employees. Thank you.
Thank you. The next question deals with the issue of communication. And let's start with you, Mr. Resnick. How is the city facilitating communication with interested stakeholders, and are there ways to improve those efforts?
Well, I tell you what, we have Randy Gale and his team. They put out an enormous amount of helpful information that daily that are very great. It's great for the citizens of Dubuque to hear about what's going on. We have a way that citizens can communicate with us to say, well, the neighbor just threw everything into the alley and is leaving it there. And if there's something unsightly or other problems in the community, you can contact the city with those problems and we'll get right on it. We've had a lot of work with in our financial realm. Citizens can see every dime how it's going to be spent. So we have these open books, open budgets. We ask the citizens for recommendations. In fact, on how to spend our budget money. The other thing is we've got so many, in fact, our plan for Dubuque, it's called Imagine Dubuque. We talked with 6,000 citizens about what would you like to see in our community? What would you like us to concentrate on? What do you like your community to be in 10 years? And 6,000 people came forth and gave us some ideas, and we've made that into the Imagine Dubuque strategic plan. So yes, we've done a lot and more can do.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
Thank you. We have a very excellent public information department at our city. So information that's going out, we have email, we have a number of Facebook pages that I would encourage you to follow if you're interested in what's happening in your city government. We have wonderful brochures that have all different sorts of programs and policies and ways to get involved and leisure services information. We have a website where you can go and find information. You can call us. But communication always has to be two ways. And so it's really important for residents to look at those channels that are available and send feedback back to us. We really appreciate hearing from residents. It's very helpful because no city council person is an expert on every topic. And so the residents who are closest to the issues that are going on have great insights and ideas, and we appreciate having those so that when we have the discussions at the council table, we can have a more thorough investigation of the issues. So I would encourage people to find out what the channels are out there, make sure you utilize them, and please reach out to us. We love to hear from you. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethall.
Again, as a healthcare provider through the pandemic, I think many of us missed each other. And we missed communicating with one another. We missed face-to-face. We missed talking. And I hope that people know that I want to talk to them. I want to hear from them. And one of the greatest joys in my role as a councilwoman has been connecting with people who I never would have met. It's so enjoyable. I learn so much from all of my constituents who reach out to me and try to educate me about their view on a situation. And I will say we have a dynamic communications department. Our video series, Delivering Dubuque, with Mayor Brad Kavanaugh and our city staff, has actually won some recent awards. And if you're on Instagram or Facebook, you can actually watch those videos. They're incredibly informative. They talk a lot about, very casually and entertainingly, thank you to Mayor Brad Kavanaugh, what our city offers for services and how you as an individual could access those services. You can reach us individually as council members through the city website. You can actually send an email to all of us at once, or individually you can contact us as well. And there's phone numbers there as well for contact with your individual council members. Please reach out to us. Please communicate with us. That is the way that we're best going to serve you.
Thank you. We'll start with you, Ms. Russell, with this very interesting question. Is there any subject awaiting discussion by the council that you think you all will not agree with?
Well, that could probably be any topic. I think it's important that all of us come to the table with an open mind and a basket of information that we've gathered from our residents that have reached out to us and the reading that we've done. And many times we don't agree. But we do so in a very professional and courteous manner, so you may not recognize it as a disagreement between each other, but I can tell you that I learn the most when someone at the table has a different opinion than I do. Because oftentimes it's something that, oh, I hadn't thought of that. And, thank you for sharing. And so I think it's really important that we have topics that we don't agree on. And we all come armed with the information that we've read and the perspectives that we may have formed before we get there. But we come to the table with an open mind, and we go from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethall?
An incredible joy of serving on council with the colleagues that I have presently is that we each offer to me a very rich and unique from the next person life experience. Maybe that's stage in life, maybe that's professional career path. But that adds a richness to discussion that's very important. In that way, we also hear from constituents that help us to make those decisions or help me, honestly, to read more. Maybe it's exploring other municipalities and how they have approached topics. I do try and come very open-minded to council meetings because I have found that is the way that I serve best. Many of my council colleagues will bring up topics, as Councilmember Roussel had mentioned, that I hadn't seen from that perspective. Or maybe a constituent sends me an email with a link to something that I have not read yet. It's incredibly helpful for me in order to feel that I'm making the best decision for my constituents, to feel well informed. And sometimes that means that my husband has to make me go to bed at night and close up a web page. But that's okay. That's important. I really thrive and enjoy that experience of trying to learn more and use a part of my brain that maybe I've never used to try and learn about a new topic.
Thank you. Mr. Resnick?
Yes, ticket cameras. That's going to be an issue that we're going to disagree about, and that's okay. I appreciate my colleagues talking about this plainly, and that's true. We all need to come with open-minded and a collegial atmosphere, because we know there are tough questions. And sometimes we vote yes when we're 60% yes and 40% no. And we can only vote one way, yes or no, aye or nay. So I appreciate the great discussions that come with our disagreements, because we learn a lot, because people offer their sincere and opinions about things, and there's a lot behind that opinion very often. It's life experience or training or some other type of information that we can use. But City Council, you're here to make choices. It's oftentimes Plan A, Plan B, or neither, or maybe something you have thought about that is an original idea to the council members that we could move on or at least explore. So it's challenging that way. So I do my research. I think about all these different sides, Plan A, Plan B, or maybe we shouldn't do either one right now, or maybe there's a better solution. So there's a lot to think about, and I appreciate, as my colleague said, the way that this council agrees and disagrees.
Thank you. Well, we've come to the end of our questions from the audience, and each candidate will now have 2 minutes for their closing remarks. And we'll start with you, Mr. Resnick.
All right, well, thank you. Yes, first of all, I hope you know that I am committed to improving our beloved citizens for all our residents. I want to improve our beloved city for all our residents. I do have an opponent for this election, and I'm glad that my opponent wants to be involved in the Dubuque community. But there's a difference between being involved and being committed. And if you want to be involved, you have to show up. I am committed to Dubuque citizens. My family has lived here 40 years. I have taught at the public and private schools, Clark, Loris, and UD. I've written shows for the Grand Opera House, ballets for the Heartland Ballet of Dubuque. I have served as a dedicated council member for 16 years so far on the Dubuque City Council. I would be honored to have your continued support and your vote on November 7th. And finally, I would like to thank the League of Women Voters for hosting this important event. Your commitment to protect and expand voting rights and ensure everyone is represented in our democracy is an inspiration to me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Roussel.
Thank you. In my time on City Council, I strive to make the best possible decisions on each issue that comes before us. I feel it's important to come to the table with an open mind, and I take a lot of time to read, listen, and learn. I listen to the experts, because no council person can be an expert on every topic. I listen to those that are impacted. I learn about their concerns and ask questions on their behalf. I listen to those that are involved. People who are closest often have the greatest insights. I listen to and I respect my colleagues at the council table. We don't always agree, and when we don't, I learn something from the opposing opinion. I always ask myself, who benefits and who is burdened by the issue at hand? Over the years, I've been an active servant leader in a diverse range of organizations. working side by side with people of different interests, backgrounds, ages, income levels. Everything from Dubuque Trees Forever to Hawkeye Community Area Action Program, the Chamber of Commerce, performing in the symphony, serving my church, scouts, homeless shelters, and serving on city commissions. This community involvement gives me a wide perspective to view the issues that come to our table. I will continue to be out in the community working with you on projects, organizations, boards, and volunteer opportunities. I will continue to work for you on the challenging issues facing our community, such as housing, workforce, childcare, infrastructure, and taxes, and making sure we take advantage of opportunities that come our way and building on the unique history and beauty that is Dubuque. I would appreciate your vote on November 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Wethall?
Thank you. And again, I am so appreciative to the League of Women Voters for organizing this evening and for those watching here and at home. You care enough about our future to listen. And I hope you use your voice as your vote. It has been one of the greatest privileges of my life to serve as your councilwoman. My priorities will continue to include attracting and retaining a talented workforce, creating housing across our city for all income streams, both new housing creation and reactivation of our historic structures, ensuring a safe Dubuque, goals of achieving full staffing of our police force, and completion of a comprehensive study for fire staffing and station locations. Placemaking, finding ways to bring our citizens outdoors for healthy recreation, bike and walking trails, enhancing amenities at Schmidt Island, and supporting cultural experiences to create community. Supporting structures of childcare for our families. This keeps parents in the workforce and cares for our greatest treasure, our children. The return of daily air service must happen. I believe this will be a reality, but will continue to take collaboration with state and federal partners. Infrastructure. It includes so much. Roads, alleys, pump replacement at our B Branch Detention Basin, Catfish Creek Sanitary Sewer Project pump station, our Central Avenue corridor revitalization. There is so much to do, and we must do it right. Your vote is your voice. I promise to continue to lead with listening and do my part to secure the future of our city and her people. I would be grateful for your vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And thank you so much to Mr. Resnick, Ms. Russell, and you, Ms. Wethall, for participating tonight. We do really appreciate it. And the League would like to thank the City of Dubuque Cable TV Division for airing tonight's forum. City of Dubuque staff will live stream the forum on Facebook, as well as broadcast it live to City Channel Dubuque. I'm on Channel 6 and Mediacom Cable Channel 8 or Digital 117.2. Following the event, the forum will be available for replay on the city's Facebook page and at www.cityofdubuque.org/media. Thank you very much, everybody, for participating.